Hey, real quick, before I start this video, just want to let you know this is the censored version of the video. If you want to find the uncensored version, there's a link down in the description. You should be able to figure out how to find it from there. It's on a funny website that starts with F, ends in Y, it's blue, hard to miss. All right, go on. Fellas, today I'm going to tell you about this 18+ visual novel, PMC Promiscuity. So, in the game, you are a well-endowed hunk who is a gun for hire in this futuristic yet rugged sci-fi setting, who was then hired by a very powerful and secret mercenary company to be the boy toy for the 4 female leads in the game, while you stay at a temporary compound while they wait for the main base of operations to be operable again. Speaking of female leads, you've got Shizu, a rude, sailor-tongued, loud-mouthed, violent kitsune who was actually the one who hired you. Then my personal favorite, Ayo, the sister to Shizu, who is a classy, motherly kitsune, who's the top boss of the group. Next, Kaiva, a drunk and eccentric mad scientist turned receptionist lizard girl who says words like lol and lamau unironically. And finally, Adelaide, a strict, by-the-book, ice magic wielding combat expert elf girl that masquerades as a top, but is actually the most bottom of the bunch. Most of the game consists of slice-of-life type scenes that really focus on usually 1 or 2 characters at a time. As you play through the scenes, you not only learn more about each of the girls, but also how each of them feel, interact, and work with each other. You also get to learn more about the world itself, though only bits and pieces, like how there's this place called The Lost, that's dilapidated and teeming with dangerous monsters that your character was actually in at some point. However, I kind of feel like a handful of these scenes were unnecessary, but maybe that's just me being impatient. Sometimes, I don't know, it's hard to say. You progress through the story by playing one of 4 minigames, depending on which girl you want to converse with, to get more relationship points so you can then play through a scene. After having played through 2 scenes, you have to go to sleep in the dormitory to move to the next day. At some point, you have to max out your relationship points with the girl you want to hit up to play a sexy scene, so that means you gotta play more minigames. I kinda want to talk about the minigames, but I'll come back to them in a second. I got a lot to say. So I want to emphasize this. I really like each of the characters in this game. The character designs are hot, the voice actresses did an amazing job, and each of them are well written with very distinct personalities, motivations, and struggles. To add a compliment to the writing, I want to mention that at first I didn't think I was going to like Shizu. I almost immediately wrote her off as a stereotypical tsundere type girl with how much she insults and yells at you. But as I played through the story, got to know her more, she started to open up bit by bit in multiple ways, and I became more forgiving and understanding of her behavior. I still wouldn't consider her my favorite, as that spot belongs to Ayo, because mommy, but she definitely went up a tier or 2, and that's something I feel can be pretty tough for a writer to pull off, to redeem a character that initially you're not supposed to like. I also want to mention that I like the art style. It's very unique, and I think fits the tone of the story quite well. I followed this artist for some time, so I'm glad to see them here. I like the music as well, which, aside from the main menu, consists of smooth and gentle tracks. I think they suit the setting and mood perfectly, though I wish there was at least 1 or 2 more tracks, as there's one song you'll be hearing a lot throughout the game. Again, it's not a bad song by any means, and maybe this is just me / an ADHD thing, but I would have appreciated a little more variety in the song selection. Now, the minigames. They take up a decent chunk of your time, and I got tired of them almost immediately. If you want to talk to Ayo, you have to play a memory minigame, though they don't show you where each picture is initially, so you're just guessing. If you want to talk to Shizu, you have to play this minigame where you click one of these 4 buttons depending on which picture appears. If you want to talk to Kaiva, you have to play this lockpicking minigame where you get clues for each guess you make. And finally, if you want to talk to Adelaide, you have to play this shooting minigame. Again, none of these are very fun. They definitely just feel like chores, and are very tedious to play, especially since you have to usually play them multiple times in a row. Some of them have exploits as well, like the shooting one, for example. If you move your cursor off of the game, it removes the scope effect, so you can just see where the next target is immediately. And for the sorting minigame, you can just spam click and sometimes get lucky. I'm also not the biggest fan of these sort of transitional loading screens that you have to sit through between each scene. Here's one, for example.
Remember, ambiguous green gas is usually not good to breathe.
I like them initially, as some of them are genuinely funny, but you'll start to hear the same ones over and over again, which really ruin the humor in them for me. They also take up so much of the runtime, probably at least an hour in total, if not more, so it definitely feels like it's padding the game for time. These loading screens and the minigames combined sometimes made it difficult for me to want to play more than 20 or 30 minutes at a time. I think there should either be an option to turn them off, or just have each one play once and then never again. Okay? Thanks. Honestly, those two issues are my biggest gripes with the game, but I do have some nitpicks, so I'm just gonna kind of list them in no particular order. The shooting minigames instructions were a bit confusing to me regarding the hostage targets, as I initially thought I just shouldn't shoot them at all and wait for them to go away, but they don't. You have to actually shoot the guy holding the hostage. Sometimes the spoken dialogue doesn't match the written text, the menu UI is just the default Renpai designs. I'm sad we only get to very briefly see a femboy kitsune character named Whisper. They talk him up as being a very charming, I'll say, type of character, but you don't get to have a scene with them. It makes sense why in the story, but still, as a femboy enjoyer myself, right, it would have been nice. There's also this one scene involving Shizu and a random businesswoman that doesn't really get explained and felt out of place. Unless I'm missing something, maybe I just didn't read it right, I don't know. I also wish there were more vocal sounds for the final sexy group scene. Now for my final nitpick, I found a lot of typos as I played through the game, and I took a screenshot of every single one that I saw. I'm just gonna quickly show you all of them, you can read them yourself. Alright, now with all of that said, I'm still going to go ahead and recommend this game if you're a fan of slice of life visual novels. Again, the minigames and the loading screens really drag it down for me, as I felt like they just wasted time, but the characters, the interpersonal relationships, and the sexy scenes carried hard here. Especially the ones with Ayo, because my god, to the person who voiced her, Zooey Mama, whoa! Auga! Anyways, that's about all I have to say about the game. Thank you for watching. Have you played this game before? Got a different game you'd like for me to review next? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, bitch, or I'll fucking find you. I'll kill